in the Philippines since day number one. And it is with such great appreciation that I've tracked and followed and seen and covered your transformation from NBA star player and now as a basketball head coach. And I'm not even surprised that you are a highly admired, highly respected head coach, and you are not believing a single word coming out of my mouth.
Because I know what you actually think about me.
No, of course not. No, you're a great coach, and that's why you're here. That's why you're in that chair. But how would you describe your journey, the journey of coaching so far?
At first, it was a begrudging entrance.
Begrudging entrance?
Yes. So I asked friends while I was still playing, who are coaches, what's it like coaching, et cetera, et cetera. And I had actually decided, I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm done playing, but I know one thing. I will never, ever coach. I literally said that.
Why? Why didn't you want to coach?
My parents are
built for it.
Well, my parents are professors. They've seen the world. They've done stuff helping the rural poor. We've traveled so much. They're educators. And so the things that I've been exposed to as a young child, I was just grateful for. I got to see the world. I mean, that's why I was born here. It was my parents' fault, right? So I just thought that the world's such a fascinating place. There's so many disciplines you could go and do, things that you could do. I just know I'll never coach because I'll be done with basketball and I'll move on. So I guess I was pretty wrong.
Thankfully,
yeah,
that's basketball's game. Yeah.
And it was actually Raymond Yu who offered me my first job, the owner of Wellcoat. And it took me a real while to fight through it and to finally agree. And I really wish I had been any kind of help to Coach Leo Austria whatsoever when I started. And I think that he was just a patient man.
I think you helped when you played. I think you played one game. You played one game as an import in cross trainers. I covered that game. You played a PB game in running shoes.
Yeah. And knowing all the help I was to Coach Leo, we probably didn't win that game either. So, but yeah, so it's like any new profession, you know. You're always in front of the camera, but if you all of a sudden had to run everything ABS does behind the camera, you think you know it all, but then you're like, ganito pala. So I had a bunch of those. And I think probably the reason that Alaska's lost to San Miguel so much in the finals is just Coach Leo's paying me back for what a horrible assistant coach I was for him.
Compton didn't help me.
So, but then it just kind of grew, and then I actually stopped for a little while because Coach Eric and I really felt the NBTC, something that we do around the country, I just felt like it was going to grow into this big thing, and I really wanted to sow into Philippine basketball and the grassroots. So I actually resigned from Rain or Shine because I was telling Raymond Yu and Kaloy, I can't be your first assistant and be traveling 3 to 4 days a week. It's unfair to you, but I feel like this is necessary for the country. So I did, and then I was broke. I had no more money, and then of all things, Coach Bo Parasol called. And Coach Bo and I are super close friends now, but we didn't really know each other back then. So when the job came up, I had actually asked a friend in our Bible study group, please pray for me because I'm broke and I need a job. And I was at the NBTC, and of all places, Soxar Jensan Airport, where Coach Bo is from, and he was in Manila coaching Coke. And I'm exhausted from a weekend of doing coaching training in the airport. My phone rings, and I usually didn't answer phones I didn't know. I just picked it up, hello, and it was Coach Bo. Long story short, I started working for Coke and Powerade, and that was great.
Oh, you were part of the Tigerella run.
Yeah, that was...
With Gary David and company.
Gary's on
Hands
fire,
on fire,
JV, Marshall. It was just such a fun group of guys, and Coach Bo did an amazing job just getting us into the finals. But then Coke was sold. So right in the middle as we're building it up, it's sold, and my contract came up, and then Luigi and Dicky got in touch with me about being an assistant for Alaska. And since I came here, I had always admired Alaska. I mean, from 98, when I first came, I just always admired, like, wow, this team really plays with discipline. This is like what basketball should be like. They really do things different. So it was an honor to join them and then learn, and then I became the head coach. And you said it on your intro, hopefully we get number 15 sometime soon.
That elusive championship, do you think about it a lot?
I think about it more of, and you're a dad, so the way that I think about it is not as a personal goal as much as that I long to see the guys get a championship. Like I've said this before, but I mean it's really true. When we won with Luigi in 2014, Coach Topex and I were in the other locker room, and no one else was in that locker room. Everybody was celebrating and dancing around, and we were just talking about how is this great just to hear them celebrate. That's such a nice feeling, just to be
This is you and Topex.
just me and Topex hanging out in there. And then I've longed for that for our guys. I just want to, when the day comes, win the championship, just say, excuse me for a second, and go and lock that door. And just listen to the guys celebrate all the hard work and everything. That's really what it's about for me. You know, there's great coaches that don't have the pieces sometimes to win a championship. And there's solid coaches that have great pieces. You know, it just kind of works out that way. So I don't really take it as I know I've screwed things up before. I know I've done some things right, too. But it's really about the guys. That's what it's about for me.
So this waiting for that elusive championship, you don't want it for yourself, which sounds just like you. It's very Alex Compton-like. But at the same time, what kind of conversations have you had with Mr. Fred Uitengsu in the process of that waiting, which I would imagine could be very frustrating?
Oh, yeah. Well, Fred has high standards, and I'm actually grateful for him. I mean, you know, I'd tell you this off air, so if we cut the camera, I'm going to say I'm grateful for him because standards are there to help you be challenged as a man to meet them. And, you know, the standards that the Alaska franchise has set throughout its PBA history has been phenomenal. As an independent, winning 14 championships through all the ups and downs, it's great. So we've talked about certain challenges that exist in the league. I'll say that for us, but we're not going to stop, and we're going to keep going. And Fred has been an amazing leader and really, for me, a mentor because as a guy that wants to push and work, he's a guy who's always pushed and worked, but he's a good family man. And that's always, we were talking about this before coming on here, trying to balance the type A personality of get it done, do all the work and do everything, but you have a family and don't make it your only part of your life. And just learning from him the integrity that he's lived with, the work ethic that he has, the leadership and concern he has for his people, but not sacrificing his family in the process is something that's been inspiring and challenging for me.
We got a minute left, and I'd like for you to share the ultimate paradox of your basketball career, and that as a coach, for you, basketball is not life.
Yes. It's a microcosm of life. It's like a picture of life. So anything that you're blessed with the ability to do, you're good at what you do, Miko, and I appreciate it. Like, you're excellent at what you do, and it's always fun to work with you. It's always fun to talk to you. You're insightful. You have good questions. You know how far to pressure, when not to. You're respectful. That's great. But you are not limited to the Miko that everybody sees. You got a beautiful wife, beautiful daughter. You got a great life. And it's the same thing. And it's true of any profession. And I think ultimately, as men, our challenge is as the provider in the family to do a great job of leading where you're at, pour your heart into it, do everything you can, but not be so consumed that you're a terrible husband, a terrible father. And I want the guys to learn the same thing. Pour it out. Do what you're supposed to do. Be a good husband. Be a good father. Be a good member of the community.
Which is worth more than, I guess, a championship, if that championship is won by ruthless winning attitude.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get both. That's what we're shooting for.
I'm rooting for you. You know I'm always cheering for you, especially after the nice things you said about me. I'm going to wear my Alaska hat, and I'm gonna cheer for you. On that poignant note, I'd like to thank a person I respect so much, a colleague I respect so much, and most of all, a friend that I miss hanging around with, Alex Compton. Thank you, Alex, for joining us on the school.
Great being. Let's not be strangers. Let's see each other some more. Enjoy it.